time has come.
What's up, everyone? What's up, and welcome to another episode of Savage Crucible with me, Tim, and we're joined here with Seth Tomlinson, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect. Seth,
Hello,
thank you so
everyone.
much for being here with us today. We got some cool stuff to talk about today. We got some, some maps and all that. So getting into this shortly. But everybody in the chat saying hello. What's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in. A couple of news here before we get going. Everybody knows that Wave 2 pre-order is open right now. So anybody trying to get some Wave 2 figures, if they missed the Kickstarter, if they just want to, double up on some figures, that's going till August 16th. So you'll have that opportunity to get those figures right now. We have Zolocon in Pennsylvania coming as soon as that pre-order closes. So that'll be the weekend. I believe it's the 17th and 18th. So anybody that's in the Pennsylvania area wants to check out some Savage Crucible up close or pick up some Wave 1 figures, definitely check the guys out at the show. And that's going to be followed by Jolana in Georgia. I believe that's in September, end of September, 27th, 28th. So there's a couple shows coming up, guys. So excited news. Wave 2 is in the production process right now. So those will be coming second half of the year. So pretty soon here, guys, before you know it. So I'm excited, real excited for Wave 2. But enough about that. Seth, man. Let's talk about some maps here.
Hi, Seth.
Yeah, back to it here. So give us a little info about yourself. Tell us, how you got into the whole, map making, a little bit of history of, if you're into sci-fi or fantasy. Let us know a little bit about that.
All right. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about how I got into maps first. I'm going to go back almost all the way to the beginning because I've got these really early memories of
at the dawn of time. No, I'm sorry.
At the dawn of time.
Yeah.
I remember looking at my dad's atlas and going to the library and picking out atlases when I was like 6 or 7 and bringing them home and just copying the maps. And then I kind of forgot about it for a little while. And then it was when I started getting into fantasy, probably around the time the Lord of the Rings movies came out when I was 10-ish years old, that I started getting into it again and started drawing fantasy maps and making up my own fantasy maps. And it didn't really become a serious pursuit until in my 20s, probably not until I got into D&D in my mid-20s and started drawing maps for my own adventures and campaigns, and eventually got to the point where I started putting myself out there online and trying to get commissions to do this sort of thing. And then you guys found me. I can't remember exactly how that happened. If you guys found me on Facebook or
we found you at the dawn of time.
At the dawn.
Nice, man. Real cool. So you've been doing a little bit of D&D, you said, doing maps for that. Are you still active with D&D? You still play and do campaigns and stuff?
Yeah, I've got a couple games going on, and I DM both of them. I've got so I have one campaign That's my main campaign. That's been going on for years. The campaign itself, if we played weekly, would probably have only been like a year and a half, 2 years. But since we all have kids and busy lives, we maybe get together once a month, and because it's stretched out like that, the campaign's been going for I think 7 years at this point. But I'm looking towards getting us to the end within the next year or two.
Well,
Nice.
that's really cool that at least you're like, yeah, we're going to be doing this for at least another year. That's really cool, actually. So this has got to be one epic story. Do you do maps for your D&D sessions?
Not all the time. I did a world map for my game. Actually, I did a couple versions of that world map before landing on the one that I was actually happy with. And then when we'll enter like an important location, sometimes I'll just sketch something out because it really helps me for my storytelling to be able to visualize where I am. Even when I'm reading stories, actually, if I'm reading a fantasy story, I really like it when the book is accompanied by a map, because I like to be able to orient myself in the world and know what's north, south, east, and west, and where all these towns and places are in relationship.
That's really cool.
So so it helps for my own storytelling when I'm writing adventures to start with a map, so that I can then place things in the world of the story.
Wow.
Nice, man.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So I heard you mentioned Lord of the Rings there. What are some other things that you draw like inspiration from to, create maps and stuff? When it comes, so like, you're looking at this piece of paper, what do you think of, when you're, starting to create?
I'm not sure the inspiration goes too much further than Lord of the Rings, and I think
that answer works.
I mean, that is a great answer.
Fantasy maps probably owe a lot to J.R.R. Tolkien and then Christopher Tolkien's maps, which I think are what's included in most of the publications now. And
nice.
I think we all follow in those footsteps.
Very true.
Every last one of us that's into fantasy. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's funny because me and Tim were talking about, the Toy Biz Lord of the Rings figures, like, back in the day. So, it's funny because, that's a big source of inspiration for me as well when it comes
Those
to
are still gems. Those are still gems. I still have my tree beard. I love it.
So, Seth, do you use any type of programming whatsoever, or is everything freehand for you?
So I start freehand. Most of what I do is pen on paper. I'll start with a sketch, and then I'll transpose that sketch into the actual paper that I'm going to do the finished map on. So I go from a really rough sketch to a finer sketch on the big paper, which I think I'm usually drawing on 18 by 24 paper. And then once the design is refined there, then I'll ink it. And then depending on what the customer wants, sometimes I'll do the text by hand. Usually I'll do it digitally though. And I'll tell people if they're working with me, unless you want the physical copy, unless that's the product you're paying for, it makes more sense to do the text digitally, because it's a lot of work to do text by hand, and consequently that makes the product a lot more expensive. So most people go with digital text, and that's what I did for you guys too.
Nice. Yeah, it's interesting, because to me, I'm you talk to me about maps, and you make me think of my dad in the 90s, busting out like this map to find out where we're going,
a road map.
It's basically a road map. So it's very interesting, the thought process that goes behind developing a map, let alone like a fantasy map, creating the textures of the islands, or the terrain and all that. It's really interesting to hear how that kind of happens. What's one of the biggest challenges you kind of face when you're doing maps?
I'm going to break your question down into two challenges because they're kind of opposite ends of the same spectrum. We were talking about this a little bit in the pre-show. The one big challenge is when I'm given absolute freedom, and it's hard to get started when you don't really have a starting point. When whoever's giving you work is just like, do whatever, I'm sure it will be great. It's like, well, I need to know what whatever is so I know what I'm doing. And then the opposite challenge is when someone has a really, really specific vision and they're not necessarily great at communicating their vision, or maybe they don't realize how specific their vision is until I start giving work back to them and they realize, well, that's not it. So there was one commission in particular that I did. I'm not gonna say what it was, but
no, of course not.
It wasn't supposed to be a big job, but it's one that I ended up putting more work into than probably anything else because we just went back to the drawing board over and over because I couldn't really, it took so long to line up with exactly what this guy wanted. He had such a specific vision for the product.
Right.
So communication is key, is what you're saying.
Yeah. A nice middle ground, that's the sweet spot to be working in.
Right.
It's great when someone can give me a good jumping off point, maybe some lore, maybe if they have a sketch themselves or a basic design, that's great too, something to work off of.
And then as an artist, you just kind of run free with it afterwards.
Yeah.
Right on. That's really cool.
Oh, here's we got Ren asking questions here. First question here: do you get frustrated when that happens to you?
Yes, I get really frustrated. And that's I don't know. I don't do this professionally. It's just a hobby and a side job thing. So when I would take on jobs like this, I didn't think as hard as I should have about what the terms of these jobs should be. And when I've done jobs like that where there's been so much back and forth, that's when I think to myself, I really need to put something in a contract or a term sheet or whatever it is we're doing that states number of revisions or something like that. And once we get beyond a certain point, then it's a little bit more money. I think it would, money aside, I think it's still frustrating doing work and having that work rejected, but being compensated would make it slightly less frustrating.
Yeah, there you go. It sounds like a learning lesson, indeed.
Yeah,
for sure.
We got Doug over here. Good Lord.
Commissions are the devil. Yeah.
I guess it depends on what because you never quite know what the person is really asking for sometimes, until you kind of put it down for him too. But with what you were just saying, Seth, how much did Rob give you to kind of go off of with the maps?
He had there was a world map, like a rough world map that I was given, and I think he was pretty loosey-goosey about it. Like, yeah, you can use this as inspiration or just do your own thing. And I think I stayed pretty true to the basic shapes of the continents that were in that world map. But the topography within those land masses, the map was just flat colors. Like, it would be a shoreline, and then this continent's red, this one's green. So there was no detail on the inside. So I made up a lot of stuff, and if I was making up something major, like beyond just forests and mountains and that sort of thing, I would usually check in with him and make sure it was okay. And I don't think he ever said no.
That sounds about right. Yeah. Stella was trying to tell me that there's a Taco Bell in one of the maps. Was that your idea or Rob's? There's no Taco Bell? Stella?
No.
You're a liar.
I was thinking about fourth meal, man. I'm sorry. No.
Hey, I did these maps about 4 years ago. You could tell me that anything was in them, and I would believe.
Yeah, right.
Right. Really? I put a Cane's chicken in there? Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I guess.
Now, we talked a little bit about the challenges. What do you find the most rewarding when you kind of do a map and you just kind of look at it? You're like, Yeah,
getting to the finished product is definitely a reward in and of itself, especially if I'm really happy with it. The most rewarding thing is getting to see the finished product on an actual product. Usually, in my case, that's been in books. I've done a few commissions for self-published novels. I've never seen one in a toy box until you guys showed that to me, so that was really cool to see that.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, we love it, and to see that, you did something right there too, buddy. So we love all of this stuff.
there's actually at least one person that I know of that has actually customized the map that comes inside the toy box. He put burn holes in it and got it really dirty, and I mean it was really cool with what he did.
He's in the chat, man. He's lurking in
well, I didn't want to call him out, but yes,
we won't give his name.
Well, yeah,
I guess not. It's now. Yeah, I guess we do now.
We need the little Mortal Kombat guys. Whoopsie. Anyways, but it was really cool with what he did with it. I think it's got to be one of those moments where you would look at it and be like, "Wow, I can't believe people are doing this with my work." That's got to be an achievement of sorts.
Yeah, because usually I feel like I'm just a dude just with my pencils and pens sitting in my basement drawing some things, and it doesn't really feel real. Well, it's real in the sense that I'm physically drawing it, but it just feels like a me thing until it gets out there in the world and actually gets put on something.
Right. Sure. I mean, that's understandable. I mean, I think we can all relate to that. I don't think anybody really is sitting there going, "Oh, this is going to blow everybody's mind." And, you're not thinking about those type of things. You're just kind of trying to find your way through whatever project you're working on. That's really cool, though.
Cool, man. Yeah. Well, thank you for all that. We would love to show some of the maps if you want to talk about them too. It was cool. Right before, we went live here. You're like, I got the actual physical copies. So we'd love to see some of that if you want to bring it up real quick.
Yeah, we can show them. Yeah, please, if that's all right, Seth. I'm sorry. Yeah. I know we are asking a lot, but man, they are amazing.
You can see how big they are too. So, man, I may need to stand up and stand back a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I got a stack of them. I think most in this stack are probably yours. That's upsetting.
Look at that.
They've been sitting rolled up for probably about 4 years. But
oh my God!
So as you can see, the text isn't there, so I couldn't tell you which one this is.
You're right, and that's okay. Still couldn't tell you either. That's actually really cool, though. Those are great to see. Wow, you've got quite a bit there.
Yeah. Now I'm remembering some of the stuff that went into these. Like the compass roses were always a lot of fun because I kept the same base design for all the compass roses, but then each one had its own unique thing. Like this one has a man of war style ship floating towards you, and I tried to make the compass rose fit with something that's going on with the map. Like this
I think you
got a whirlpool, and I think
oh my God, I don't think anyone's caught that. That's really cool.
And there's the whirlpool that's actually on the map.
Oh wow. Wow.
I think that's the coolest part about actually getting you to show this, Seth, because you show your little creative inputs that you've stuck in there. I honestly had no idea that was there. And you're like, I changed it up on all these, and now I'm like, man, I've looked at those pictures, so many times, and
we studied the lands, never the compass.
Yep,
amazing.
That's probably one of my favorite ones.
Oh wow,
yes.
Wow, man,
real cool.
Wow.
Let me see if I can find the floating islands, because those ones are really cool.
Yes.
I'm gonna have a big pile of curled up maps on the floor to map after this is done.
Sorry. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry.
We appreciate it, Seth. Truly.
Doug, I already asked him before the show if he would send one for the archives. I couldn't agree more. That's definitely archive material. That's
There it is.
one of my
ones-
favorite ones. Yeah, I love
These
that
ones are
chilling
like
in the
smaller,
sky.
but
Yeah, I love that tree. That is
Mhm.
gorgeous, man.
and then the last one with the Lovecraftian monster island.
That is, yeah.
Yeah. I had that as my wallpaper forever. That's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. We're
That's
definitely
probably one of my favorite things I've done.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the tentacles coming out. Ren wants to know if we can get placemats of these maps. I would absolutely enjoy eating dinner every night off of these maps, man,
I'm so
without a
game.
doubt. Yeah, that's really cool.
Seth, I was going to ask you, how do you do the like elevated grounds? I noticed like on the maps, and you can see like little areas where it looks like the ground's elevated. Where I guess you're doing mountain terrain, or how do you go about doing that? Is that just like kind of creating shading, or
Yeah, most of it's in shading. I think usually for mountains, I just kind of start with a little bit of a zigzag, and then zigzag or a bit of a scribble. Try to make it a little bit random because I think the randomness makes it feel natural, and that scribble ends up being the main line of the mountain range, and then from there I'll define the individual mountains a little bit more, and then usually draw some additional mountains on either side of that main range. And then yeah, shading. Since I'm doing it all with pen, I just use my smallest size pen, which I think is a 0.5 millimeter that I use for my smallest size, and just do a lot of little tiny lines on the one side of the mountain for shading.
Wow, very cool.
Very nice, man.
I'd like to hear more about when he inks.
Mm-hmm.
How's that process?
If you want to hear about how stressful it is,
Yes, please.
actually, it's not so bad when I'm just delivering a digital product like I was for you guys, because I can put a little bit of whiteout on a digital product. But if somebody is actually buying a physical map, yeah, inking is stressful because I need to make. Yeah, there's no room for mistakes. If I make, well, sometimes little mistakes I can hide, but a big mistake would mean starting over, and I don't think that's ever happened. Or no, that's not true. It happened once, but it was right at the very beginning. So I was sad, but it was okay.
You lucked out. Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. I'm just now finished. Oh man.
Spills
Was there
coffee
something
all over it.
specific you wanted to hear about inking?
What's that? What'd you say, Seth?
Was there something specific you wanted to hear about?
Oh
inking?
no, I was just curious, and I mean that was actually really good. Thank you for sharing that. No, I was just curious and really the process, but I think you summed it up with that when you were like, it's pretty stressful. But no, that was pretty much it. Thank you.
Cool, man. Well, let's get into showing some of these maps real quick. So
Yeah,
these
let's
maps
bring
are
some
available on savagecrucible.com. If you go to the menu, you'll see the cartography. Go over there and you'll get to see all these maps too. But we do have them. We can bring them up right here. So Seth can talk about some of these. So this is kind of like as you kind of come in, it gives you a little bit of I guess a little bit of an information on the maps. So this is something that you created as well here, Seth? Did you draw all this?
Yeah.
Or wow.
Yeah, that was all. I think that was all by hand.
Wow.
Text by hand? No, I think that text was just a typeface. Never mind, it wasn't all by hand. The scroll was by hand, and all the details were. But
right, yeah, it still looks really nice.
It's still fantastic.
It's a typeface.
So a collection of cartographies here, and I like too that it's the information and the text cannot be taken as complete fact. I love that. It's just so cool. It fits in so much with how the Crucible kind of works and operates. So, um, cool. And I love your little insignia on the bottom there too. So
What's that say?
master cartographer and Tomlinson, and then scholar of the Ingamir. So is that something that you have there? Is that the scholar part on the bottom?
I think that was. You're asking me to remember back to a few years ago. I think that was something that.
Gotcha. No.
Was that a location on one of the maps? That might have been a location on one of the maps. I think when Rob and I were talking about these things, we just wanted to kind of make it like I was a character in the universe. So that was
That's kick ass. I love that idea.
Awesome.
That's wicked.
Mm-hmm. Well, you
Very
would think
cool.
about it too. If somebody's doing this, documentation, they would be part of that, Crucible. So that's awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
Lore wise. So, but here we got Ren asked, how long does that take? Is it a slow process to not make mistakes?
He's talking about the inking.
Yeah, I guess the inking.
Yeah. I got better at it. Like anything, you get better at it as you go along. The first couple commissions I did very, very slow. But with practice, I got into a groove, got more confident with what I was doing. Actually, it was probably the confidence that led to a little bit of carelessness that did cause me to ruin one map. So maybe that confidence is maybe that cuts both ways. But no, it is a slow process. Each of these maps, start to finish, was probably, I'd say 10 to 20 hours per map, depending on the map.
Whoa. Yeah,
wow, I did not think that was that. Yeah, that's quite a long process.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Holy cow. We'll bring up some more maps, please, though.
Yes, I would definitely will.
Thanks for the yo.
Yo.
Yo. Yeah.
Okay. So, well, actually, you know what? Let's start out with this one right here because I think this one is a good starting point one. This is Savage Crucible. So this is a world map, let's say. It's not, part of the world. So tell us a little bit about this one right here, Seth. How you kind of thought about, because you go into detail with each individual place, but, how was it that you're looking at, the whole world here?
So that one, this world map, that was actually an idea that I had right at the end of the project. I said, you know what, I could take a little bit of time and actually combine all of the individual drawings together. So that's not a new drawing. That just takes all of the other maps and puts them together.
Nice.
And some of the maps had overlap of land masses. So there was a little bit of digital touch-ups I had to do because the parts that overlapped weren't 100% perfect. And then I think I removed most of the smaller labels and just kept the main labels like continents and countries, and try to do a little bit of work making the text look nice. And
so there's no physical copy of this one, is what you're saying?
No,
this
I don't have a physical copy of that.
Right. No, that would be insane to try to draw this after you just drew all the other ones.
Right. But yeah, that's really cool to just see the whole world right here. And again, now you got me paying attention to the compasses too. So that's a pretty cool compass there, as well. But yeah, so let's kind of get into the a little bit more detail look of the islands and stuff here. So the continents. So Turion here. Look, we even got Atlantis on the map there. So was that something that you kind of were using as far as, actual places that, have existed in like myth, or tell us a little bit about Atlantis there, because we know a little bit from, if anybody's read the graphic novel, we get a little glimpse that there are Atlanteans still around. So,
Well, those names, like the names of the countries, I was given, so I
okay.
didn't make that up based on anything. I think my contributions were in the smaller text, so names
Mm,
of the cities, forests, mountain ranges, that sort of thing.
Oh, neat.
Um,
very nice.
and I think I tried to maybe pick a real world culture. I didn't do this every time, but sometimes I would try to pick a real world culture and make names that kind of felt like they came from that place, just so that there would be a little bit of consistency. Like maybe this nation is a little bit more Scandinavian in its naming conventions, and another nation is more English.
Nice.
Cool.
Stuff like that. Just give the different lands
Do you
their
find
own
yourself
character.
do you
What's that?
find yourself struggling to come up with names?
Oh yeah, coming up with names I think is the hardest part of writing. I'll like when I'm writing for my coming up with ideas for my D&D campaign, I'll write pages and pages of things and just leave a lot of the names blank and then stress over the names until I find something perfect.
Yeah, I can
I didn't
imagine
do
having.
that for every single name on this map, and sometimes I would use random name generators online, and I wouldn't always take names verbatim, but they would give me something to start with.
Oh, here we got a nice question over here. Were you influenced by old 1587 Urbano Mont map of the world? I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is either, so my answer is no.
That's a negative
Great
ghostwriter.
question. I'm sorry I can't give a more exciting answer to that question.
The influence came from
Oh.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings, exactly. But Rob, definitely let us know in the comments, a little bit of more detail about what that is. I would love to know what that is. Cool. Let's see. Let's venture on to the next map here.
Next.
Sauron, I guess. Sauron. I want to say
I never
Sauron for
knew.
some reason. Like I keep trying to.
Looks like
Yeah.
Sayrod. Sarad.
Oh yeah, is that a D? Yeah, it could be a D.
It's an N.
I
Yeah,
knew it was an N.
Sauron,
See?
maybe.
Sauron. So west and east. That's and I did notice that some places too, you have like double of them because I guess they're so big. I think there's one that was two of them, two continents. But let's see. Let's go to the next one. If the Carthia. So Carthia. TMX Grey Rods. Yeah. I want to know more about that Grey Rod place over there. What's that all about?
All right.
I want to know more about the gray rot too. That
Mhm.
that sounds interesting. I made some gray looking rot stuff on the compass rose.
Yeah.
I was looking at those. Yeah, I kept looking at the compasses every time.
Everybody look at the compasses now. So
that's fantastic.
Carico, Republic of.
I really like doing maps like this that have like a lot of different bays and inlets and stuff like that. I don't know. The land's just there's more excitement in the land. It's more fun to draw than a continent that's more of just like a big circle with a few irregularities.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, like you said, and you can see like I guess it's Dracker over there. Like you can totally see like, the way you design that map, I can totally picture those guys just being like, controlling, because it looks like you have like a river or a passage that kind of goes through there. A canal, I guess.
I think it's a wall that
so that's a wall. I thought that was a
borders.
canal or something. I was like, maybe they control that canal or something, for transport or something. But that's just me thinking too much into it, I guess. So that's a wall there. So that's a dividing wall. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So they're like fortified in, it looks like, because it's on the other side there too with Theros, it looks like. So
wow.
Nice. Okay.
Wow.
See, now you got me really looking at it.
Yeah, how big are those walls?
What's that?
I said, how big are those walls? It was just a general question.
Yeah.
Now that we know they're walls, you know what I mean? Are we talking like 100-foot wall? You know,
Yeah.
That's for you guys to imagine.
I know, right? It's really cool though.
Good answer. Sepia. All right. So cool. And I like too how there's, you can see like, you've created like I guess you can call it like a dead land where there's no terrain or landscape, Is that like you're trying to pick like, I guess like a desert terrain with that, or?
Yeah, it could have been. I'm trying to zoom into it and see what the text says, but I'd probably have to look at my digital copies to really see what that text says. I'm not sure if that's a desert or it may just be plains.
Just a landmass. Yeah, just a plain. Yeah.
Yeah, I try to give variety to the landscape because it's more fun to look at. Then I also try, like, I'm not I don't know a ton about geography. I mean, I know enough basics in order to draw maps that hopefully feel semi-real, but within my very small base of knowledge, I do try to make the topography make a little bit of sense based on the way the landmass is shaped. Someone who's an expert in these things can chime in and tell me how wrong I am. But but in my own head, I base what I draw around both visual interest and what makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that works for me.
Yeah. You can see it in that bottom island over the Rafetta, I guess it's called. Like, there's a lot of detail going on over there, so it's definitely noticeable when you're applying. Let me just look at the chat here. Great.
You're good.
Yeah, we're good.
You're good. You're good on the chat.
We'll keep moving along. So Pharaoh, and I got something cool to say about this one, but let's see what Seth has to say. So there's a forge in this one, so that's pretty cool. Any info on that you want to share?
I don't remember. And the more specific your questions get about the maps,
he's like, right? A forge. It's a forge. Stop asking.
It's a forge. That's where it is.
I can't remember if the whirlpool was my idea or if that was something that was in the lore. Just looking at it now, though, since it's called the forge, I kind of imagine this whirlpool maybe being used to power things. I don't know.
Wow.
To power or maybe to move from one place to another.
United Gulf Isles. So who won? You think that might be where Cum was from? Who knows? We haven't seen any. We know he's from the island. Right, we don't know from where. So
yeah, that's true.
Federation of Argus. So the cool thing that I want to share with this one is this is the map. We get to see the Jade Eye Empire, which, if anybody remembers from previous show, when we were on with Rubus and Abraham, we got a glimpse of the Jade Eye Empire. Indeed. That's going to be in the graphic novel.
Yes.
That, it just so happens to be right here that I can show real quick.
You're terrible.
Yeah, right. So it's cool to actually see, like now, we're getting a little more involved with everything. So, it's cool to see that. So this one's a cool map to kind of keep your eyes on that we'll be seeing a little more about. So moving right along, let's see what we got next here. So that was Pharaoh. Sulcus.
I think this was the first one I did.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
So this one should be another familiar one.
Yeah, he remembers it well. I had a bad headache from this one.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm doing multiple maps for a person or a company, the first one is always the most stressful because I don't yet know how you guys are going to respond to my work. By the time I got to the last one, I was like, whatever I do, he's going to say yes. He's going to say it's great.
Right. Well, yeah, and those last ones too are pretty awesome. We're getting to those here shortly, but a cool thing about this map also, guys, is we get to see Theria over here, which, a certain character comes from there.
Tell us.
Jaeger. Uh, so that's
Ooh.
that's where he comes from. So that'll be interesting to see. Keep an eye out on that one as well.
What's
So
the waste? I wonder what the waste is like.
it's the
It's the
sewage
wastelands.
runoff. Yeah, no,
It's just a
of the
big
Crucible.
sewer
Yeah,
runoff.
no, but yeah, it's. I want to say too, because looking at it, is maybe like a bog or something, like maybe where
Oh, that would be cool.
who knows?
Yeah, we need more bogs.
Yeah, the land of internal stench, maybe.
Indeed. If she kisses you, I'll turn you into
Yeah.
a prince.
Oh, so this is the world map again. So this is
Okay, we
everything
made
put
it back.
together here.
Right. There we go.
This
This
one,
is where the party is.
so this everybody should be familiar with this one by now. So
Mhm.
Lemuria, wave 1, our lizard guys. So we're guessing that this is a pretty warm place, tropical,
Seth?
Yeah.
yeah, he's probably
is
like,
it tropical? Is it warm here?
I think it's pretty much dead center on the world map, is it not? So that would put it. The equator is probably passing right through there.
Ooh. So hot and cold.
Yeah.
That's
And
interesting.
what's cool too, it's like you get to see, the rest of the plate, like you get to see the gray rot there, all the
Yeah,
other
I saw that
land masses
immediately.
too added on there. So that's pretty
Yeah.
cool right there too.
It is really cool.
Yeah,
I like the little castles in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Seth?
Oh, I was just going to say that would be an example of the sort of thing when I was combining all the maps together for the world map. So we had the gray rot, for example, featured on one of the other maps. So when I combine that one with this one, I would have to do a little bit of painting on Photoshop to actually make them fit together. They were usually really close, but it wouldn't be a perfect match.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I mean, yeah, this is so cool to see it kind of put together like that and to see your process. This is when I say I have like zero knowledge about this stuff, it's so great to actually learn about it and see how you kind of put it all together. Was this another one of the first ones you made, Seth? Do you remember? Was this one of the first maps?
It was definitely not later than the middle. So it would have been one of the first few.
Yeah, early on.
Cool. Yeah,
Very
I could
cool.
imagine. We got Gary saying,
"Yeah, is that a White Castle in there?" Okay. Again, he doesn't know.
Yeah, and if you look closely, there's a McDonald's in the
Golden
Republic
Arches
of Aeron over there.
Right there. Right.
It would have been awesome,
equator.
Seth, if you added that and you're like Republic of Golden Arches or something like
the Republic Golden Arches. Sir Ronald
by Duke McDonald.
Right.
Awesome. Let's see. What do we got next here? So Lemuria, everybody knows this one.
Excuse me.
All right. So Blood Sword Ascendary. Wow.
What is that?
Historian Empire. So one of the landmass that's on the left-hand side there.
Yeah. I see it. Blood Sword. What?
Ascendancy? I
think it's Blood Sworn, not Sword.
Blood
Sworn Ascendancy.
Oh
wow.
Yether.
School us,
Yes.
Seth. We don't know.
Yeah, I'm a foreigner.
I'm coming into these
Culture me, Seth.
too.
The Sea Masons
Area,
Collective.
Sea Masons.
Look at that, right in the middle.
So doing as many maps as I did for you guys, I try to come up with unique icons for different things. Like you'll see some of the cities and important landmarks have icons. But man, having done this many maps for you guys, it is hard to keep coming up with unique things.
I can imagine.
Sometimes the lore would make it easier. Like I think there's an observatory there, so that was something that wasn't anywhere else, so that's easy. But if something is just like another major city or another major fortress, there are only so many different ways that I can draw an icon of a castle.
on the Scray Empire, what are those little discs?
I
Are
think
those whirlpools?
I think they're. I'm trying to remember. I think they're like beehives.
What?
What?
Bum, bum. People are gonna be going nuts. When we getting
That's what it
people?
looks like on the compass rose with the coloring. It looks like a
Oh
beehive
wow!
Uh-huh.
or a
Oh,
wasp
wow.
hive or something.
Oh
Interesting.
wow! That is really
Let
interesting.
me ask you this. Were you given any instruction as far as incorporating any type of portals anywhere? Like any places that have specific types of portals or anything?
I definitely was. I can't remember if I drew any icons of portals. One of the compass roses does have a portal in the middle, though.
Wow.
I think we may have seen. I think it may have been in one of the maps that you've already brought up.
Okay. So you guys got to go back and figure out which one it was, guys. So
Yep. Do your
get
homework.
to a
kids.
chat.
Yeah. Do your homework, kids.
Let's see here. So Carico. So Brent.
We should have had Rob on so we could have
Right.
gotten
Yeah.
the
We gotta pick a little bit of
pronunciations right.
his brain.
Yeah,
Brent.
these are, I love all
Yeah.
the little islands that
The
you put in there.
Ragnar. That is awesome over there. Like, what is going on up there? That's just like the line of land up there. That's cool.
Yeah, that is crazy how it extends out and it's
Mhm.
real thin. Definitely
So is that
interesting.
mountainous terrain there, Seth, or is that like foresty?
That's mountains.
Mountainous. Okay, so
And
that's
I'll
the
tell you
mountain.
this.
Wow.
I'll tell you the secret about little islands. Little islands are what I throw in there when I think the map is looking kind of boring.
Okay.
That allows freedom to create.
That's right.
Love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that
Really.
mountain, the mountain terrain up there, man, that's all mountains. Think about that, Stell.
Mhm.
Holy shit. You want to make that trek? What's all
Yeah.
the way at the end? There better be the fattest chest
Mhm.
at that point. If you got to climb all those mountains to get all the way to the other
Well,
side.
I mean, what I'm thinking of, like, if you lived like inside that gulf, you're super fortified.
well,
Like,
yeah.
that's like, there's only like real one way of coming in, and if you controlled that, the sea, like that entrance in the sea, like I
Right?
don't know. I'm thinking a
Water
little too much
world.
Game of Thrones over here.
No, that's where
like,
water world is.
yeah. Yeah, but it's really cool, when you're thinking about this stuff, it's really cool to just see. And unique too, because nothing really to me. I'm looking at all these maps, and they all do look unique to me. Nothing kind of overlaps or seems similar to me. Everything kind of has its own little take, which is nice. And challenging for you, I bet, Seth. Like you were saying, like changing everything up because you have such a plethora of maps for us.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah,
Really
it's
nice.
a huge world.
Yeah. So let's get to these last two, which these are definitely, I think, the most interesting ones because you kind of get a little closer up look of, what the landmass is like. So we got Magonia, I'm guessing. So this is the island in the sky right here. So tell us a little bit about what's going on all over here. I mean, I'm getting a little
I
Norse
love that
mythology.
tree.
Yeah, the tree kind of looks like the world tree. Like tell us what's going on here. There's like little caves, like it's real cool.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what I was given to work with. Like all of the maps, I was given a lot of freedom. I was given a basic lore document that had maybe a paragraph on each location, including this one. I know this was for the Hawkmen, right? And then I just tried to develop that into something that looked cool and kind of made sense. So you've just got this giant chunk of floating rock, and well, what goes well with rocks? I figured probably caves on the side of the rock that things could
That's
live in,
wicked.
and of course, massive tree in the middle.
No,
then,
it looks great. Yeah.
I think I wanted to make sure it looked like it was floating in the air and not just jutting out of water or something. So that's why you've got the little gusts of wind going across the island, and
Very cool.
yeah, that was kind of tricky to draw because you can see along each pen stroke it's a little bit faded. So
Yeah. Well, I really like
That was tricky to do
chunk.
by hand.
Yeah,
Would have been
I can
easier to just
imagine.
make those like an eraser line on Photoshop, but no, I did
Right.
did
Yeah.
that all by hand.
Extra work. I really like the chunk of earth that you put
Right.
underneath there.
Mhm.
It's wonderful. I mean,
Oh, thanks.
we don't even know how deep these caves go.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
It's like,
and
does
then
it-
you've
if-
got that. Yeah, you've got that big chunk of earth underneath this. There could be thousands of cities in there. It's amazing. That tree
Well,
could
you
be
know,
500 foot tall, for all
it's
we know.
it also is very, it tickles the mind because you're looking at it and you're thinking to yourself, like, how did this mass of land, end up in the sky? Like, was there some type of catastrophe and, some
Oh, and
ancients
it
were
like
able to
shifted.
kind of
Is it
just save
magic?
this one
Right.
piece of, they're like, oh, we have to save the tree, right? So like, they somehow were able to sacrifice something or do some type of incantation to raise the
Well,
land. Like,
Seth,
it's so cool.
Seth, did you draw any other trees like this on any other maps?
No, nothing even close to this. These
There
last
you go,
these
Stel.
last two maps, I haven't done anything like them for anyone else.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's why it's an island in the sky. It's to save
Yeah.
that tree.
Mm-hmm. And it flies around, so it's never in one location, and people are either looking to destroy it, or learning or trying to get some secret information or something from it, or I don't know. It just, this is me just diving into the fantasy aspect of it.
Right. Yeah. Just to be clear, that's his imagination.
Yeah. This
people.
isn't. Yeah.
It does not
Um,
float around that we
yeah.
know of.
Yeah. Cool. So with that one, let's get on the water here. Check this one out here. So Dagon. So this actually, to me, it's like, was it a living creature that, they were just like, hey, let's just build on it.
This is amazing. Well, it
Yeah,
looks
this
like
is
it's
beautiful.
water, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, right,
Yeah.
Seth? Yeah.
Yeah, it's water, and the intent is that this is just a massive living creature that's
Shy
so big it's pretty much got land masses on it,
Yeah.
and someone probably someone evil, but what do I know? They might not be evil, but I can't imagine a good guy living on a monster.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
I think we know.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
No,
we
good
know.
good guys don't usually have creepy castles on mountains.
Yeah,
and,
right.
on the backs of giant monsters.
Although the lawn does look well kept, so
Mhm.
maybe he's chaotic good or chaotic evil.
He's into landscaping, like serious.
Landscaping plus 20.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we might know who. I think there's a hunch of who might be owning this real estate over here.
Yeah, I don't think Seth has seen
You
him,
know.
but yeah, this would definitely probably be Harbinger. Harbinger, sorry.
Right.
So yeah, that's, I mean, with the tentacles, I mean, I would
Mhm.
imagine, I don't even know for sure, but I mean, that's probably a good giveaway. I love the one up front with its mouth open.
Yeah, this is so. To me, I'm looking at this and I'm getting heavy vibes of Greek mythology, like when it comes to Scylla
That's
and
Frank
Charybdis.
Herbert's Dune.
That's
Shai Halud right there.
That's
Mhm.
no, man. That's sand. We're talking about water here. Come on.
Shai Halud. Look at all those teeth.
You're talking about spice. I'm talking about salt water. No.
The salt water must flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
But I'm getting those kind of vibes from it. Like it's what did you use any type of inspiration from that, Seth, or what were you thinking of when you were coming up with this design?
Yeah, I was definitely thinking of things like the sandworm. I just like the idea of this massive gaping mouth with endless teeth inside. And
indeed, it's terrifying.
Tentacles. I'd never drawn an octopus or tentacles in my life, so I had to look up a lot of references to. I didn't even know where to begin. And you know what? It worked out because shortly after I did this for you guys, I did another commission for an RPG where they wanted a dungeon map and one of the rooms was being broken into by some tentacled monster. So I made that part of the map. I was like, yes, I have the perfect skill set for this now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, they look great for never being, never drawing this. This is incredible. This is like one of my favorites.
There we go. Major reaction. I'm with you on the same boat. Reminds me of Haribdis. Yep.
Yeah,
Golden.
that is just fantastic.
The golden fleece is there.
Right. Or all the way at the end of the mountains.
Mhm. The Hydra's there too. You got to
Yeah, no kidding.
grow some skeletons. Cool, man. So that's it, man. Thank you so much for giving us a little more detailed look into those maps, Seth. Those are great. I mean, those are great pieces of artwork. To see what went behind that and all the time and effort you put behind that, we truly appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Especially I'm a map junkie, and I lost my shit when I saw these. So thank you so much. Truly,
that makes me really happy to hear. Thank you.
I mean, truly amazing work. It's hours getting lost in these maps.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't trade it for anything. So thank you.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for saying that. And
no, I mean it.
Yeah, thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to do this. You know, it was I think early in the pandemic that we started doing this, and
right.
It was I was out of work at the time just because of work closures from COVID. So it was nice having kind of a steady job at home for a little bit doing all these maps. So it came at the perfect time for me, and really glad to hear that you're happy with them too.
Oh yeah, man, you kidding me? Everyone loves them, but fantastic work, and
we hope to see some more of your work in the future. So
absolutely, and again, I know I've already thanked you, but I'm going to thank you again.
Yeah,
right. Thank you so much for being on. We do appreciate your time. We know that you're extremely busy, and thank you so much for being on with us.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yep, and we got Gary over here make up some map prints. Yes, we've been saying this. Maybe if we get some draw on those, maybe we can get some prints going on the maps. It would be nice. It would be nice to get like a nice, worn, almost.
I
want
to hang those on my wall. Are you kidding me?
Or something, make it look like super unique or something. Cool guys. Well, everybody that tuned in with us, thank you guys so much. We love you guys commenting, engaging with us. It's always a pleasure. Stay tuned. Next week, we'll be doing our Creators Crucible episode with Tim. So anybody that
we're going to be painting
anything from the MAFC sale with the heads or the weapons, we'll be doing some painting tutorials on that stuff. So if you've been holding off on painting those,
be ready.
Be ready. We'll have something special for you guys next week. So with that being said, Seth, thank you for me as well.
No, I want to thank him again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah. Tim, you want to say thank you one more time?
No, we've bugged him out. All right. Thank you. All right. Now I'm done.
And with that, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Everybody have a good night. Thank you so much again for tuning in.
See ya. Thanks, guys.